coordinated and getting Dragon Soul in both games 1 and 2 last week. So they clearly found a workaround for not being on the same page.
All right, so getting into draft here for the first game of our best of 3. It's first pick selected by Team Liquid. Sentinels then going to respond by choosing to go to the blue side. It's Sentinels banning out the Rumble, the Azir, and the Renekton. Meanwhile, Team Liquid takes out the Orianna. They get rid of the K'Sante. They get rid of the Jarvan. That early K'Sante ban, I feel like you don't see a lot of times, but in a time where you're going up against a dude who played over 300 games with your org and won a lot of K'Sante games, I like the respect here from TL.
I like it as well. Mid lane bans are traded. There's an 80% ban rate against HamBak of Jarvan, so it is a relatively banned champion anyway, but I'm looking forward to seeing when HamBak does play Jarvan. It's not a champion he's got like huge historic stats on, but I do imagine it's something he's probably a demon on in scrims, so going to want to track that as the series progresses if they end up letting that through. Nothing too surprising with the first pack Ambessa because that's set up by the K'Sante ban for Team Liquid.
Yep. Going to go ahead and pick that one up there for Morgan. Meanwhile, back over to Sentinels. Still plenty of OPs left to go. The Varus is going to be the instant lock-in here. A lot of times throughout the history of League of Legends, Varus goes one place and one place only. He lanes bot as the marksman. But there have been a couple of times, including recent history, where he can be flexed to the top lane here too. I feel like playing into Ambessa could be very dangerous. Ambessa also could be in the jungle, so there's flex potential for that here as well, as the second pick for Sentinels is the Pantheon.
It would be so wild if Impact's first game since leaving Team Liquid a second time is Varus top.
Yeah, I would be completely surprised.
He's like, the Team Liquid chains are off. I've been waiting to play range tops this entire time. I doubt it. I think it's the AD carry Varus.
Most likely as well, but I had to at least bring it up in case we do get the 1% chance. In case we do, but we're going to get Ryze locked in here on the side of Team Liquid, most likely for QUID. Excited to see how that one works out. The champ is very powerful with mana stacking being as strong as it's ever been with the addition of Actualizer to the game. Now, what do we want here? We're hovering it back and forth with a couple of different junglers. Obviously, if we get one of those locked, it's 100% tell that the Ambessa is going into the top lane there for Morgan. What's Josedeodo want to pilot here? Okay, the Wukong for the jungle for Jose.
QUID was just having fun cycling champions. It was always going to be a Sundered Sky AD jungler. He's just picking between,
like, come on now.
Do we want a little bit more team fight or a little bit more early game? Do we want the Xin or the Wukong? And he's just going to end up going with Wukong, which I like for him because him, Jose, and QUID have just been extremely good at creating action together. And I think the Ryze Wukong is another good combo where they can go to work.
Meanwhile, on the other side, you want to talk about good combos. Pantheon Taliyah, just a staple combo, simple, point and click, secure yourselves the kill, set it up for the seismic shove. And this also not just has that micro combo potential, but the macro combo potential. Grand Starfall plus the Weaver's Wall, working together, targeting side lanes, making plays around objectives. I need to see coordination between these ults.
Good globals. We'll see if they can make plays happen, not just at Drake. Because actually, if you have a team with a lot of globals like this, you do actually pay a power cost for that. So if you just end up grouping around singular objectives without utilizing the globals, you're going to be weaker. So Sentinels is going to have a bit of a challenge here since they haven't actually shown good map coordination outside of just grouping for Drake so far this split.
Okay, second half of the bans, and Sentinels are going to take some shots at the AD carries. They want to get rid of the Sivir. I feel like when the enemy team is showing 2 divers and a Ryze, Sivir can be something that would synergize very well with that, so they want to remove that additional move speed to dogpile into a big fight. Gwen is going to be the ban for Team Liquid. They do want to try to prevent that from being picked top lane into the Ambessa, as Ezreal will be the next ban for Sentinels. I already mentioned the Taliyah and the Pantheon being able to combo out a carry and find that pick. As long as Ezreal is paying attention and you're playing on land ping, you can just arcane shift out of the way of Pantheon's stun and you're not going to get hit by the seismic shove follow-up right next to it.
For sure. I think Yeon's just going to play Jhin. I think that's what's left for him. They've gotten rid of the Spell Shield Sivir. They've gotten rid of the safe Ezreal. They have a lot of damage in both Ryze, Wukong, and Ambessa, so just getting more utility from the AD carry would make sense. That's if Team Liquid is down to play like this, because we know they've been absolutely dominating people in scrims. Jhin is one of those picks that AD carries love playing, but oftentimes their teams don't let them play it. Here's where I think it actually makes a lot of sense. So we'll see, obviously. They might have something cooking. and it's Sentinels' pick right now, which is still something we're adjusting to. They're on the left side, but they're second pick, so they're actually the ones picking after the second ban phase, but Impact's likely picking his champion now since he's up against Dembessa.
Okay, he's going to go ahead and lock the Aatrox here. This is one of those standard, just like it's a solid laner. It can contribute to team fights. It can have some threat on its own in a side lane later on in the game. Kind of checks every box, I feel like, a little bit. I do worry a little more for drain tank style champions as we've moved into this new season. More so for solo queue, but also sometimes if you have a top laner who's really willing to put the pressure on you, if they opt to take the ignite instead of the teleport, drain tank champions can seriously have a lot of their points of strength completely turned on against them.
Yeon doesn't want to play Jhin.
No.
He wants to play Lucian Nami and go for the lane kingdom. This will be interesting, actually, because every lane on Team Liquid wants to push, which can work really well if you're really on point, but it can be dangerous. Oftentimes, you want to have the lanes that you're specifically playing around and the lanes that you're specifically playing weak side with. But now, the Lucian Nami is going to be going hard for trades. The Ryze Taliyah is a matchup we see a lot of, and then Ambessa Aatrox is another one where any type of jungle attention can swing the matchup. So a very aggressive pick there by Yeon and CoreJJ.
The other thing I'm looking at, Jatt, we've got a lot of limited range here on Team Liquid, right? You've got two melee divers up there in top and jungle. Ryze is a very limited mid lane mage in terms of his range. Yeah. Lucian has shorter range than other marksmen, and you're fighting into a Rahel. You're fighting into Varus with Chains of Corruption. You have the Unraveled Earth from the Taliyah, point-and-click CC from Pantheon. So when everybody in this short-range team goes in, it's kind of what you're saying with you want to see the lanes be coordinated and how they push and move forward and back. Everybody's got to have that same cohesion on the team fight level too, because otherwise you're just going to be running into a whole bunch of stuff that they are very happy to have you run into.
Yeah, I really wish I could go run and grab Spooks or Spawn and ask why they're doing Lucian Nami. It's probably because they've just been destroying people.
Beat the real you.
Yeah, but that's not how this works.
No.
So I need to see what he has. You can see there's the life drained out of him. Guardian Aatrox.
Yeah, it's Guardian, okay.
So I imagine everything is right except the Guardian. He probably was clicking his grab. No, Demolish as well. Yeah. I never see people bring Demolish.
Yeah, at least he does have Revitalize. He's got Second Wind, but and then he has free boots and he has cookies.
So that's okay. So the Demolish is a little weird, maybe intentional. Second Wind is real. The Guardian's gonna be rough.
Yeah, that does nothing for him in the actual lane for the actual trades. Grasp also taken for Morgan's Ambessa, so you have the actual good laning green rune.
Yeah, of all things to have in his first game back against Team Liquid for the second time, he has had such an incredible history.
He really has.
Which is why he really wants to win this game. Look at this, 374 games on Team Liquid, an unbelievable amount. 5 titles. In fact, Team Liquid doesn't win titles without Impact, and 1 MVP, which he got in 2024. So such an incredible career, again, across 2 different stints on Team Liquid, and now up against them here. And I will also say, compared to last year, he's looked really good at the start of this year. He's had good counter matchups. His KDA's improved. He's involved in a lot of fights. So most top laners have a really hard time getting involved in the game this split with the lane changes, with the role quests. Impact, not so. Also up in solo kills. So the early signs of this year in Impact, notwithstanding taking Guardian Aatrox, have been really good.
You know what I'm going to be really impressed by? If that 2 in solo kills goes up to a 3 while piloting Guardian Aatrox.
Bro, if you get solo killed by Guardian Aatrox, that's going to mental boom you more than Grasp Aatrox.
Maybe that's what he's playing for the entire time. Mental warfare from the veteran of over a decade of League of Legends play here.
Is there a worse rune to have as your keystone on Aatrox top lane than Guardian? Like, it's the most support rune possible.
Yeah, it legit just doesn't do anything.
I'll take Electrocute, Dark Harvest, Fleet. I'll press the attack.
All of that stuff at least does something. As bottom lane, hold on now, CoreJJ might be in a little bit of trouble. And yes, he is. He's out of there. HamBak just jumps in, auto attack, first blood. They decide to give the money over to the Pantheon instead of to Rahel on the Varus. So we'll see how much more HamBak can get accomplished now that he's further accelerated.
I love it. HamBak skips Krugs, goes for an early gank. Team Liquid was so heavily prioritizing the lane, they used their wards in the lane. They didn't ward the river, so he gets an easy ramp around and gets first blood.
And I feel like this is exactly what you were talking to us about. Now, hold on, Josedeodo jumping into the mid lane here. Does find a lot of damage onto DARKWINGS. QUID ghosted DARKWINGS. Barely gets away on that one. But yeah, what you mentioned back in draft, talking about the Lucian and Nami, I'd love to ask the coaches because all three lanes always want to push and that could be dangerous. Well, HamBak says, all right, if you want to have this Lucian Nami pushing for some reason, I'll happily pick up the free gold.
For sure. A lot of pros have said HamBak's one of the more difficult junglers to play against in scrims because he goes for a lot of plays that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Makes it happen on stage here as well. With that being said, not like it really gave his bottom lane that big of an advantage. You can see the gold for both players is still even. It will only give HamBak that slight gold lead over Jose.
Exactly. That's why I was a little bit surprised to see the fact that they wanted to give the kill over to HamBak. You could have just let him get the stun for the assist and then have Rahel take the last hit. Sure. But no, they wanted to give it to the Pantheon. HamBak's going to be the one with the extra money in his pocket. The 400 gold from First Blood just means for Pantheon, most likely an extra longsword. So, what can 10AD accomplish? Yeah, that's the question.
Speaking of the rarity of Guardian Aatrox, our stats man has done a poll. So, according to LoLalytics, in Emerald plus solo queue on this patch, no one has taken Guardian, even accidentally. So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, 0 games with Guardian currently reported on the new patch. So, that's something.
That's pretty impressive stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Breaking new ground here.
Yeah, he's a trendsetter. He's continually forging new opportunities up here in the top lane with the Guardian Aatrox. 20 seconds on the clock until the first dragon spawns in this game. We'll see who has the bot lane control to be able to lead the charge on that one. Morgan up about 300 gold up here in the top lane is the largest individual gold lead besides that first blood for HamBak so far on the scoreboard, as HamBak does seek to invade the jungle now with Josedeodo.
Yeah, trying to make something happen, get some early control over this Drake, and I wonder if they're going to have the same type of Drake pile they had last week. So really interestingly, I mentioned how Sentinels didn't know what they were doing week 1, but was really coordinated in week 2. It's about this play around Drake. Specifically look in game 1, after they took that first Drake, Drake was only live for 19 seconds, 18 seconds, and then 14 seconds on their way to Soul. And then in game 2, even though there's slightly slower Drakes, they still got a pre-26-minute Soul. That was with Baron between 3rd and 4th Drake. So they were so focused around securing that objective, which I think worked last week when they were better than their opponents in lane, or at least even. It's harder to do against Team Liquid when Team Liquid is constantly trying to push both of these lanes. But you can see HamBak still trying to set things up, just not really able to get it because Rahel and huhi are getting pushed in.
Rahel and huhi are getting pushed in, and this time around, Josedeodo is shadowing as Yeon and Core complete that push. They know that HamBak is likely wanting to look at this bottom lane here yet again, if nothing else, just for the dragon control that you're talking about that Sentinels was able to express in their previous series. But as long as Jose was ready to be here, in case there was a 3v2 that would need to be turned into a 3v3, Yeon and Core will crash the wave.
Yeah, and last thing on the Drake control, I think bot lane's really important in that as well. And last week against Dignitas, you can see the CSD for Rahel was positive in both game 1 and 2, compared to last week, or the week before against DSG, where it was really variable. And Impact's still going for some of these all-ins. Imagine if the man had grasp, what he'd be able to accomplish.
Well, he popped World Ender, he stabbed Morgan once, and then hit him with Q1 once. Yep. That was the most value that he got out of World Ender there. So
getting the wave in.
Yeah, okay, he's got control over the way, well, actually, no, the Cannon Minion is still alive for Morgan. So World Ender, I don't think accomplished everything you would have hoped for it to accomplish there, as Morgan can now just back away, does have a 13 CS lead, so just about 2 waves that is going to shrink a little bit as Impact farms up these extra minions that are still left alive. Morgan's going to take his recall, teleport back into lane now with Caulfield's Warhammer, pickaxe, and refillable, so a nice strong buy for the first recall.
Yeah, Morgan is likely going to be a problem. Immediately ults him as well, as Impact is trying to hold the wave. Might get the solo kill.
Yeah, this one's looking rough. Morgan comes back to lane, and no mercy for the misplaced Keystone. Just 100 to 0's Impact right there with the fresh purchase of all the new damage. Solo kill Morgan.
Jeez, I'd love to see how he got the angle for that ultimate there. I feel like Impact was trying to hold the wave in front of his turret to actually play safe, but ended up getting surprised by Morgan ulting. Morgan has so much tempo now on Impact and can look to make a play on the rest of the map. So he just straight up teleports right onto a minion. Impact was just trying to get one more CS before probably resetting. it's got to be tilting to take Guardian in the first place, but I felt like he was holding on pretty well. That moment might push it over the top because that's going to accelerate Morgan towards Eclipse, and then that lane's going to be unplayable.
Towards Eclipse, he's got the EXP advantage now. 800 gold individual lead for Morgan over Impact because of that kill that he achieved. I guess it wasn't a true 100-0. Impact only had about 80% health, but still just going from the vast majority of your health bar down to 0 because you overstayed for 1 second. That's the kind of punishment that for Team Liquid fans, you want to see Morgan recognize the opportunity to achieve. And for
sure.
Impact, like you said, it's just so frustrating to have to deal with that. Morgan knows how strong he is. He, however, also knows public execution is still down for the last 1/4 of the cooldown. Impact does now have World Ender back up, so it's not like Morgan can put a ton of pressure onto Guardian Aatrox until that ulti is ready to cast again.
Looks like Team Liquid might be going for that first Drake right now as Morgan was looking to reset to give them even more pressure, but it seems like we're just going to have a trade here of the Grubbies for that Drake.
So here's my problem with taking Grubs from the Sentinels' perspective in a game like this. Guardian Aatrox. Because Grubs require something else to give you any sort of reward, and if you can't get pressure in the side lanes, it's much harder to get the payoff from the additional damage to the turrets.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at those plates, man. 5, 5, 5 all across the lanes. They've been holding pressure in these lanes, warding River aggressively on the bottom side since that first blood gank by HamBak, and they're going to continue to do that. So I understand. I think HamBak did what he could. You're not contesting Drake when mid and bot are pushed in and your top laner is down teleport and also pressure in lane. So take what you can get. I think that's all that play was.
It's just sometimes what you can get doesn't feel great considering the state of the game. It is, however, a very low turret plate game between both teams. Yes, there's 0 taken by Sentinels so far, but on the other side, Team Liquid has taken 2 in the top lane and 1 in the bottom lane. The 2 from top side also occurring because Morgan got the solo kill. So just really low damage to turrets in the first 10 minutes overall. Yeah,
I am secretly hoping for some montage moment where Impact flashes next to Rahel to proc Guardian and save his life in a crucial late game team fight, so we have a payoff for this tragic moment in Impact's game against Team Liquid when he brings the worst possible keystone onto Aatrox. I want to hear if chat can think of a worse rune for Aatrox to have, because I currently...
And he means keystone, by the way. Don't think of something random some junk little minor rune.
Like, what is the worst possible Aatrox rune? It is... Unsealed Spellbook is better.
Yeah,
First Strike is better.
Is way better because you can get Exhaust and Ignite from that,
Yeah, everything has a use. Guardian is the worst rune for a solo laner, surely.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like
They're
it's going to...
saying Airy. Airy is better.
No, dude, Airy's way better.
It'll do damage. Yeah. Lethal Tempo is better,
You can at least poke the guy with Q1, Q2. You can get value out of Airy.
Yeah. Yeah, so the chat is saying Airy, Phase Rush, Lethal Tempo. They're all better.
Yeah, this all seems better, but right now, things could not be worse for QUID here in the mid lane. The gank squad shows up. HamBak, huhi, and DARKWINGS working together to grab the second kill of the game for Sentinels. The gold's still equal despite the 1 kill lead for the Sentinel side, and we'll see what they can try to build after this as CoreJJ just takes a ton of damage. Over the ball comes huhi, goes for the wombo combo, but CoreJJ with a nice tidal wave. Remember that the tidal wave comes out right behind Nami, so it was able to interrupt the crash down animation of huhi, prevent that extra bit of CC that could have spelled CoreJJ's demise the entire time, though, as Core and Yeon are distracted with this jungle invade. Rahel has been able to get the wave crashed into the tier 1 turret bottom lane, and hey, the Grubs are paying some dividends as Rahel barely manages enough damage to take the second place.
I mean, a beautifully done sequence, starting with killing QUID and then using that pressure to also win bottom lane. So they managed to take temporary control of both mid and bot, and that actually gives them a gold lead in this game thanks to the kill they got mid, as well as completely denying Yeon a wave, as well as really farming some of those plates. So Sentinels definitely staying in this game. That was a really nice sequence.
And honestly, the only gold advantage for TL now is the top lane. You can see here your MasterCard power spike for HamBak as he secures the Sundered Sky on that jungle Pantheon. Sundered Sky also secured in the top lane for impact on that Aatrox, give him a little bit of extra snappy trading power and healing. And we are hitting those first spikes, pretty much across the board for both sides. HamBak gonna go ahead, continue clearing through the jungle here. And Jatt, I am yet to see either the Weaver's Wall or the Grand Starfall come in to make a
True.
big play for the side of Sentinels. But considering we've got the next Drake here in about 90 seconds, maybe some playmaking, some setup before that, like you mentioned back in Champ Select, right? Make the fight unfair before it's time for the objective. That could be the angle to try to build a bigger lead.
And if they burn flashes anywhere, you can look to punish that. So CoreJJ losing his flash and heal in that skirmish would give HamBak a bit of a window if Yeon and Core try and push up at all. So they're actually going to lose a lot of the aggression that they have in this bottom lane with the Lucian Nami because Core has no flash and HamBak is a little bit unleashed on the map right here. Oop. Nice job, Impact.
Yep. Calculated.
Sneaking out of there. Just hang on, Impact. Just hang on until the laning phase is over.
Weather the storm. Hey, it's what you were talking about previously, right? Where the last time he comes back against Team Liquid, they all just focus him furiously. He's not being focused by the players this time. It's the rune that's really got it out for him. But as long as he can hold on, he's still a guy who's been playing the game for 15 years. He's still a guy who won a world championship back in 2013. There's players in the league who were like 3 years old when Impact was a world champion.
Yeah, he won a world championship before Keystone Runes. So now that he doesn't really have one, that's normal for him. He played years without Keystone Runes.
Yeah, everything was so different back in 2013. This man has seen every version of League of Legends that has ever existed. He's seen the ones that have only ever bared themselves in Mark Merrill's mind's eye. This man is a League of Legends force of nature. So we'll see what he can accomplish with that rune, as now we do have everybody kind of squaring off, a bit of a stare down around the second Drake.
CoreJJ's got to be really careful with no flash. That's why we had QUID right behind him in case they jumped on top of Core to try and return the damage. Nice little quick cheeky bot lane push by the Lucian.
Okay,
Josedeodo to join.
HamBak trading a little bit. Cyclone pops off right with the CoreJJ ulti behind it. A lot of damage to HamBak, staying alive an extra second thanks to the shield, but he does fall down. Impact sweeping around on the side here with the World Ender. A lot of damage under Rahel, and Sentinels have lost their AD carry. DARKWINGS trying to get away from QUID, and Impact has no one left to guard. He flashes over the wall, just barely stays alive. But Sentinels have lost their jungler, they've lost their AD carry, they've lost their mid laner behind enemy lines. And Team Liquid is going to take those 3 kills. They're going to take this Drake, and they are going to take control of the game here in the bot side river.
Oh, man. I'd say Jose played this fight incredibly well.
Yeah, we can fight then. We can fight here. Yeah. We can fight here. Atos cannot TP. Atos cannot TP. TPing. Panther first. Yeah, Panther first.
No combo Talia, no combo Talia.
We came in. Going. I got me.
Look, Varus. Talia no flash.
Atos can Aatrox.
Aatrox.
Atos has flash up.
Okay.
I'm coming. Anyone?
No flash, Talia.
I will chase. What's up? Very play, guys. Good TP.
Yeah.
Always very hectic comms for Team Liquid, I will say. There's always CoreJJ is incredibly loud in team fights, but sometimes that can be very beneficial. In that fight, to me, Jose, both with the engage, but then later on, managing to reach Rahel as Morgan had the flank TP, really gave Sentinels no way to play that fight, and the game's kind of been blown open here unless Team Liquid lose something quick.
Yeah, 2 Drakes, 3,000 gold ahead. As Sentinels try to defend the entryway into their jungle, it's Team Liquid looking to make this map smaller for their opponents, placing down control wards past the midline here of the river, wanting to control this topside river area to be prepared to take the Rift Herald. And then that's just going to give you more fuel for the fire to snowball the game even further away from Sentinels. You can see gold leads in every single role except support now for Team Liquid, which really doesn't matter that much anyway. The biggest of which is the nearly 2,000 gold individual lead for Morgan Zambessa here in the top lane. Weaver's Wall coming in.
Whoa,
Sentinels
Yeon.
want to try to make the play. Yeon gets caught out. Wombo combo. Shut down on the Team Liquid 80 carry. Sentinels finds a critical piece as now HamBak's going to head over to the Rift Herald, and all that preparation Team Liquid was doing might have just been for naught.
Yeah, really nicely done there by Sentinels. It looked to me like DARKWINGS managed to sneak through a hole in Team Liquid's vision since Team Liquid was really aggressively holding the river with 3. But then they realized there were 4, and everyone just had to back away. Now they're looking to make a play on Impact, though. Goodbye.
Yeah, Impact, he at least heals.
Oh,
yeah, he gets himself the passive auto attack, which gives you a massive spike of healing, especially when it procs in the same auto as Sundered Sky. So quick surge to the health bar, but as soon as the next wave arrives, there's still more than enough firepower to knock him down. Wave crashes into the tier 1. Team Liquid's going to take this turret now. That will be their second turret take of the game. So even though the Herald exists on the other side of the rift, TL's still pretty happy about the state of turrets.
Yeah, it goes from bad to worse for Impact. They need to stop killing him, though, because he's not going to be worth that much gold.
Don't over-index on it.
I mean, weirdly enough, I think this is one of the reasons the game feels a bit weird in some cases. Is once you've died once or twice, you're worth very little gold that decelerates quickly. The patch notes made it so your bounty decreases not quite as much as last patch, but I believe you still devalue very quickly. So the next skill on Impact is going to be like 170 gold. Had a thought.
Okay.
I wonder if Guardian Wukong is better, because it probably procs off your own clone.
It probably does, because the clones can eat ash arrows and stuff like that. So they generally count as champions for every other interaction.
Something to think about.
Yeah, okay, when I go to sleep tonight and I'm just wondering whatever's going to lull me into dreamland, I will contemplate the meta applications of Guardian Wukong.
Like Nico, maybe Shaco, and Wukong might be able to self-proc Guardian?
Okay,
Sure.
well, if I see Guardian Wukong in the future, I'll know that somebody found out that this has legs.
I might try it. If Impact cannot get banned for taking it in a pro match, then I'm definitely not getting banned for playing Guardian Wukong.
All right, fair enough.
He didn't take it intentionally, obviously.
Somewhere out there, Drew Levin's ears just perked up a little bit as we talk about bringing Guardian Wukong into ranked. All right, back into the game. We've got just about 20 minutes on the clock, which means Baron's going to be spawning here in 45 seconds. I don't really think either squad is at a point where they would want to try to rush that objective down, but the next Drake is spawning in less than 60 seconds here too, as huhi walks up, goes for the Shattering Strike onto QUID, who's not really concerned about what Sentinels has to bring to bear against him. He's going to go ahead and take his recall. This will be Soul Point if Team Liquid grabs it, and going back to what you were talking about earlier, Sentinels looking good in week 2 with Dragon Control. Obviously, they have not been able to execute on that here in Game 1.
For sure, and then also a little bit bigger picture, how these teams have been playing. I've been looking at a lot of kill participation lately, and specifically look at Team Liquid on the left here. Jose and QUID have really high kill participations, which is true in this game as well. They're both at 80%. As Jose is looking for some damage. But specifically, Yeon and Morgan haven't been able to be as involved in the game. I'm imagining it's something they want to improve on, but again, this game is kind of that story. Yeon with 1 kill participation of 5 so far, and Jose and QUID both 4 out of 5.
And up there top lane, critically, you can see Morgan forcing out the World Ender from Impact. As soon as he sees the wings come out on the Aatrox, he immediately backs away, because that's all he needed to get. Because now they're going to be able to force this team fight around the Drake. Yes, even if you have teleports on both Morgan and Impact, Aatrox without World Ender does not have nearly the amount of threat and presence that Aatrox with that ultimate does. So Herald's going to be summoned up in mid lane by Rahel. It gets the charge into the tier 1, but they critically won't even get the full structure by the time Team Liquid is able to rotate over to defend after securing the Drake. Yeah,
nice TP there by Morgan to hold the turret. And I think that was correct by Sentinels to not contest that Drake. You're pretty much in last-ditch effort to salvage the game here, where on 3rd Drake, you just try and trade Team Liquid's map investment for as much gold as possible. Ooh. Really cheeky play there by Morgan, but Impact is able to sidestep the ultimate and get some of that crystalline overgrowth off of the turret. But yeah, Sentinels just needs to get as close in gold as possible before the eventual soul fight to have a puncher's chance in this game.
All right, so top left is a doomsday clock for Sentinels right now, counting down from 4.5 minutes or so. They've got to be ready. They've got to be able to answer this. And despite the fact that we did get to see the one really good play out of the Weaver's Wall that got the kill on Yeon back in the mid lane a few minutes ago, I still feel like I haven't been seeing enough of the Pantheon Taliyah macro playmaking to really want these picks on your team, for this to be what you go with in the Game 1.
It's really unfortunate. I do feel like one of the reasons you could see the life leave Impact's eyes when they told him he didn't get to remake for this Guardian is because, like, this comp kind of needs to play through Aatrox. To me, mid laners like Twisted Fate, Galio, Taliyah just thrive when you have volatile topsides. Because they're already going to be trading, and it's the mid lane that actually gets to decide that matchup. But against an Eclipse, Grasp, Ambessa, and a Guardian Aatrox, even if you send a Taliyah or Pantheon up there, you might still be losing. So they don't have the way to play the game.
And now Jose immediately has his way to play the game, jumping in after HamBak, but a counter engage coming out from huhi and Rahel looking to target Yeon. HamBak is low, just about to die still. Yeon down to half HP. Impact makes his way into the fight, and Yeon is gone. Rahel's also out of the picture, and Team Liquid continues pressing forward. They've got themselves a 4v2. The fight is already won. It's just how much are they gonna win? And it's a whole lot, Jatt. The only man left standing in a red jersey is huhi, and here's our replay of how this started. It's HamBak trying to face check into the Tribe Rush.
Yeah, Team Liquid's going to be getting Baron during this replay. There's no way they can stop it. And again, it's Jose who actually pulls off the nice engage. I'd say Yeon does keep getting focused in these fights. He's probably not super thrilled, but everyone else on the team is able to capitalize on the team fight. This is one of those team comps where every lane, every player can carry, and Team Liquid easily cleaned this one up 4-for-1. Got a feel for Impact.
Yeah, it's tough, man, having the runes show up like that. Does the Guardian, observers, can we check how much damage the Guardian has actually managed to block this game? Because I'm going to assume it's procced twice.
I do want to check.
Once in each team fight, and that's it.
Oh, we got to get rid of the Baron power play. 441 damage.
Okay.
Decent.
All right, sure.
Yeah.
That tells me
That's
it's actually
probably
procced more than twice. Yeah, probably 3, maybe 4. Not 100% sure, but obviously not the same efficacy as something like a Conqueror or a Grasp of the Undying. It's now a 6,500 gold lead with the Dragon control for the side of Team Liquid. Like we mentioned earlier, the clock is ticking down. You've got to have the map in the best possible state before they go after the Dragon Soul.
Oh,
this is not a good map state. Morgan's diving into all 3 players here on Sentinels. The follow-up from Jose, Core, and Yeon as they all pile in. HamBak's the first to die, and Yeon unleashes the calling. He's dead second, and there's the pincer play coming out from QUID to cut off the remaining members of Sentinels as they try to run. We might not get a Dragon Soul. The game might end before we ever get there. Josedeodo looking for Impact here, who does manage to get enough distance to stay alive, but everybody else on Sentinels is down.
I don't think that's going to be the end of the game yet, just because the minion waves haven't arrived, but Team Liquid did a great job there playing fast. They kind of jumped ahead of the waves. So Sentinels was almost waiting to defend the turrets when the waves arrived, but Team Liquid was so fast in setting up that play, they killed everyone, and only now are the waves actually getting to the turret. So it makes for a very successful Baron power play, really makes this game pretty unwinnable for Sentinels, but we're going to have to wait until at least the next big team fight.
All right, Tier 2 in that bottom lane, crashing to the ground as we speak. The Tier 2 over in mid lane. Oh, it does survive. Look at that, just barely hanging on. The one in mid lane also about to die to the minions, so plenty of pressure in 2 different spots from those minions for Team Liquid. 10,500 gold lead.
It's huge.
Drake spawning at 25 seconds. As long as all 5 players on Team Liquid play the next fight with their eyes open, I don't think that it's losable.
Probably not. I will say, a really successful Baron power play this year, with Baron only giving half as many gold rewards as previous years. You do hear a lot of teams talking about how one Baron isn't often enough to end the game because you just don't get the same lead that you would get last year from the Baron. But I mean, it's probably going to be 2 Barons in this game as well. It's only 3 minutes until the next one, but Team Liquid is in total control.
Yep, and there's your Chemtech Soul. Utterly uncontested by Sentinels. They know that they don't have a chance of fighting a 10,000 gold lead TL at a neutral objective, so instead they're just going to take... And this is another one of those handshakes where you feel really bad about it there with the top lane. You're handshaking Dragon Soul for a tier 1 turret with an objective bounty slapped onto it up in top lane. So it doesn't feel great. Gets the gold lead back down to 4... Nope, never mind. Back up to 5 digits here for Team Liquid, as QUID's going to make sure it builds even further. Secures the last hit on that bottom lane tier 2, and TL is keeping the pressure on.
They really are. Jose has had a great game on the Wukong,
100%.
Notwithstanding the top lane. The top lane has a bit to do with this game, and it did stop the way that Sentinels could really create action, but Team Liquid still did a great job themselves creating action through mid-bot in controlling these Drakes. If you wanted to really ego on them, Morgan takes Guardian in game 2.
Oh!
If you really want to ego on Impact,
diabolical.
I highly doubt it'll happen. But depending, like, if you're Impact right now, I think your best chance is trying to bait them into it. Say the only reason they won is because of the rune, that you would have won the matchup anyway, that he's, you know, not a big enough edge considering you didn't have a Keystone. Make Morgan do it too, just to even the field.
I feel like if we are considering baiting the enemies into taking a rune that literally does nothing as part of our win con. Our win cons have been severely compromised.
I just think you might be able to get him to do it. That's the thing. It's not a completely unrealistic ask. Oh, QUID might be getting caught.
Yeah, Q1 hits the sweet spot. QUID eats the full Aatrox combo, but he's still alive with 60% HP.
Yep.
The Nami wave roars in over the top.
This might be GG.
Just stops the follow-up. Morgan dives into everybody. HamBak's going to be the focus here at the very start of the fight. Already down. Jose just into the back line yet again. Going after Rahel. Josedeodo very low, but he does get another Sundered Sky proc to keep him alive. Jose walks away from it, but Impact finally gets the kill. The Aatrox awarded with 1,000 gold shutdown, but it's only DARKWINGS and Impact still alive as Yeon continues to get all those blessings from CoreJJ. The bullets slow you down as he shoots you in the knees with him on the run. As Team Liquid continues their push towards the Nexus turrets, it is a 2v4 right now as Sentinels will scramble, but it ain't gonna matter. DARKWINGS is already down. Impact will be the next to die as Yeon and Morgan go forward. Double kill for the Lucian. And now as the minions arrive towards the Nexus turrets, that'll be all she wrote. 18-5. Team Liquid commanding their leads, particularly through Morgan, particularly through the plays of Josedeodo throughout this game. HamBak's gonna die again. Team Liquid just wants to pad the stats a little bit. Huhi retreats back into the fountain, and TL takes game 1.
A little bit of KDA maxing at the end of that game. 19 kills to 5. Dragon's Soul secured. And the Lounge did predict nothing but 2-0s. But did they factor in the Guardian is the real question.
And I think I agree with what you were saying all game long. Josedeodo's playmaking, that was the big moment for me in so many of these fights. He's my player of the game. Chat, who is yours? Lounge, who is yours?
It may be Impact. And by the way, Jatt was asking a question. Did I factor in Guardian? You might be surprised I did.
You did?
Maybe
you predicted
I picked Guardian for him.
Oh, I don't think you should admit to that live on broadcast.